Hey friend, this is episode number 539 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so.
What if clarity didn't mean rebranding your whole business? What if it was just asking a better question? The Clarity Code is a printable deck of 30 prompts designed to pull you out of the swirl and back into your own wisdom. No pressure, no rules, just one next step on your terms. Get your deck at bossgirlcreative.com/reflection and breathe again. Hello, friend. Welcome to episode number 539. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for tuning in, pressing play. I really, truly appreciate you. I want to get started with what's been going on in my garden. I finally, like it's a big sigh of relief. I finally pulled out all of my remaining spring tomato plants. I will never, ever again plant spoon tomatoes, unless I need hedgerow cover. I'm not ever doing that again. They got so wild, and I've talked about them in the past, but let me just remind you, they produce a tomato the size of a pearl, and then try harvesting a bajillion pearls. To get you to a cup of pearls would take you 30 minutes to harvest that many. Just a cup. So I am grateful that I'm finally finished with pulling the spring tomatoes out. The garden is still completely gardening, which is amazing. I have tomatoes from my fall tomato plants. I have okra still, peppers. I have pumpkin still. Eggplant is starting. It is so exciting. I also still have a boatload of flowers. So I have happy pollinators in the garden. And I was able to get my dill planted I interplanted it with my fall tomatoes, and then a bunch of new marigold plants that I seed started from my own actual marigold plants that I seed started back in January. So that was fun to save my own seeds. And then I would say about 75% germinated, which was amazing. And let's see, I need to next up transplant my broccoli plants that I started. I think I started them back in June, and cabbage, and then start my garlic in the ground, my radishes and my carrots, and then set up a pest control netting for the broccoli because I have major cabbage worms. I want to try to prevent that for fall season because I had them last fall season. I had them crazy pants in the spring. So I'm looking forward to trying out some pest netting from Bootstrap Farmer, so looking forward to that. That's next. I also added 3 pomegranate trees. I picked up a wonderful palm. Basically, that's what Palm Wonderful is made from, the wonderful variety pomegranate. And then 2 others, and I cannot speak what their species is. It's an interesting one, but it is one meant for Texas. So I have 2 of those and 1 Palm Wonderful. Not Palm Wonderful, that's a brand. I have a wonderful variety of pomegranate. So those will be going in once we clear out of the 90s, because we're still hitting 90s and pomegranate trees do not like that to get their root systems going. So I definitely have to wait until we're out of the 90s consistently, and we are still stuck there. So that's where we are with that. The house build is still ongoing. We have more angle iron, red iron, whatever you want to call it. I think they call it red iron going up. So it's like the structure of the barn dominium itself, the external structure. And my builder, he dropped off some materials on Friday and did not swing his trailer appropriately and took out 2 of my trees. So now he gets to owe me 2 oak trees. So that's fun. And we did a lot more work in the pond, which is great. I think we have 2 more weekends, for sure 1 more full weekend, but possibly 2. So I think our initial guesstimate was 3 total weekends, but it looks like now we've done 2 full weekends. I think we have 2 more full weekends, and then the pond will be ready for next steps, which is our dock building. And also, what else are we doing? We are adding aeration to the pond and then putting in a bunch of pea gravel for some of the slopes, and getting just the pond ready for habitat for fish in the spring. So that'll be good. Let's move on to books, what I've been reading lately. I actually have officially completed my Goodreads goal of 75 books in 2025. I'm actually ahead of that now, but I did a bunch of reading last week. I had a lot of time to listen to audiobooks, and I really got a bunch read. So I finished The First Husband, Laura Dave, 4 stars. She is the one that has the series, Jennifer Garner series, the one where the husband disappears. He doesn't go, he disappears. Right now I can't think of the name of that series, but it's a fantastic series, and I know they're working on the next series in that series. And that was it was a really good book, but fantastic series too with Jennifer Garner. Gosh, why can't I not think of that name of that? Anyways, moving on. I also finished The Lost Apothecary, Sarah Penner, 4 stars. That one was a good one. I read The World's Greatest Detective and Her Just Okay Assistant by Liza Tooley, 5 stars. That is Merritt and Blunt book number 1. So book number 2 is coming out next year. I read Nightshade by Michael Connelly, gave it 4 stars. That is Detective Stillwell, book number 1. I read Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney, 3 stars. That book made me sick to my stomach in a good way and a bad way, the entire book. Like, I just kept thinking, can we hurry up? I'm already listening to this on two times speed, but can we hurry up? It was such a creepy book. Such a creepy book. Gave it 3 stars. And then I finished an advanced reader copy from Rachel Hawkins, The Storm, and I gave that one 4 stars. And that one was a good one. So that is what I read between last week and this week. Yep, I got some good ones in. Let's move into Search Bar Confessions. So I feel like my husband lately has been watching a lot of like throwback movies. He had Not Another Teen Movie on the other day, and it's a movie I had never seen. And as I was watching it, I kept thinking to myself, we thought this was good back then. I was like, this is so pathetic, but okay. And so I had to look up Not Another Teen Movie cast because, again, it is a throwback movie. And I was like, these people look really familiar. Who, what, all the things. So I had to do some Googling. Also, Amelia Earhart's plane has possibly been found by Purdue University. And they are setting out in the Pacific. I forget, it's not around the Solomon Islands. It actually might be around the Solomon Islands. Anyways, it is out in the South Pacific, and they are going to make a trek and spend a few weeks seeing if they are correct. It is an anomaly that has been on satellite imagery. They first noticed it in 2020, and then when they started like reflecting back, they see the anomaly all the way back to 1938, which is crazy wild. So they are going to go inspect, and Amelia Earhart is attached to Purdue University. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if that is a new discovery. I Googled taking care of pomegranate trees because I've never grown a pomegranate tree. So that was on my Google search. I also saw somebody using weck jars. It's a style of mason jar. So I had to go Google, where do you buy those? Where do you buy weck jars? I learned Williams-Sonoma, I believe Crate and Barrel, and then through the weck website. And then I Googled, can you turn on Do Not Disturb for one person on iPhone? And the answer is yes. So I have set that up. Oh my gosh. Yes, for real. I have set that up. Speaking of, I just turned on my Do Not Disturb because I start getting notifications around this time. Okay, I also Googled what can be picked up for bulk trash pickup because I had a dishwasher go bad at one of my rentals. So I had to buy one. And, it's really challenging to find an in-stock dishwasher these days. Thankfully, my Home Depot had 2 options in stock, and we went with one of them. I just picked up a Whirlpool because it is USA made. And then I needed to know, will my trash service actually pick up the old one? And the answer is yes. I also Googled what I could interplant with garlic so I don't waste an entire row of fall gardening and early spring gardening with garlic planting. So I will be planting my carrots and my radishes alongside my garlic. And then best ways to wash fresh eggs, because I'm not a chicken person. I don't have my own chickens, but I continue to receive fresh eggs from my neighbor and my sister-in-law, and sometimes they are not washed. So how do you wash them? And you do not wash them in cold water. That is a no-no. You have to wash them in temp water that is warmer than the actual egg to prevent what is on the exterior of the egg moving through the shell into the interior, in case you didn't know. So that is my search bar confessions for the week. All right, let's talk about the business nugget. This week's business nugget is all about when you realize you're not the priority and you decide that you are. So I want to give you some backstory. A couple of seasons ago, on our way back from Colorado, we were deciding to be like, okay, we're going to listen to some kind of, not self-help, but business book on the way back from Colorado. And so we were listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I actually may have been reading that out loud. I don't know that we had the audiobook. Maybe we had the audiobook. Highly recommend that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So in the book, they talk about getting things off your plate that someone else can do that might have that strong suit. And especially if it's not something that you're doing well to have a high return on your investment. And so after listening to that book, one of the first things that we did was hire a property management company to manage our rentals. And as of right now, I have 4 duplexes and I live in one of them. So I have 8 total doors, 8 units, but 7 of them are rentals. And I was just having a really hard time getting my 2-bedroom rental actually leased. It had been unleased for a very long time. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to need help. Let's allow somebody else to actively do this. And so I signed on with the property management company back in, I think I started talking to them in September. We officially, I think, signed an agreement in October, and I signed for most of my units as they were coming up for new tenants. So I signed one first because it was vacant, and then I signed another one because it became vacant, and then a third one. And the intention was to sign the rest as my old tenants moved out. And ultimately, I think I ended up signing 4 total units. It was 3 properties, but 4 total units. And I wasn't a fan. And it goes back to how you physically want to be treated, what you find valuable, what you place priority on. And that is when I realized that I was not a priority for them. And I have to be. I have to be a priority because I've had another unit under their management go unleased for 10 months. And that is just unacceptable. Complete waste of money. So I fired them. I actually had to wait on my contract to expire. I didn't want any kind of a fee to cancel early, and that happens to be this month. So we have officially given them notice, and now we are slowly getting all of the docs back from them. And some of the things that I'm seeing in their docs, I'm like, I never approved that. That should have been something that I should have been made aware of. And a big thing for me leading up to deciding to take back control of my property management is I didn't like how they ran their property management company. And I'm sure this is how it normally runs, but it didn't fit how I want it ran. So I felt like their system ran like a corporate apartment complex. Like that's how I felt things were being handled. And I get it. You have to streamline, you have to have your own systems in place. But I hated when I got a text message for a work order. I'm like, what is this crap about work orders? Like, this just makes it feel like these people think they are living in an apartment complex, and they are not. These are their homes, and they have to take care of their homes. So I was really like, I didn't like seeing work orders pop through text message. I felt like it really created a lot of friction for me and just gave the wrong vibe for how to take care of my properties. And because the way I was running my properties, I made it very clear to my tenants what I would maintain as their landlord and what they would be required to maintain as the tenant. And like what required things I had to maintain, obviously HVAC and plumbing and like the appliances that are already in the property. Like I have to maintain those things. But other things like, I don't know, other things that I would get notification for, I'm like, that is not related to the safety of living there or something I am required to fix. Like especially if you broke it. Like, so I felt like their system undermined how I was running my properties for years and years and years and just created unnecessary issues for me as the landlord. So the other thing that really bothered me is the lack of communication on how often they were showing my unleased, my vacant property, how many applications they were receiving, and just that whole process. It was kind of like, are you even showing it? And so when I got on their website to figure out, like I sent in my written notification to cancel and I sent it to the owner and I didn't hear back from the owner for like a couple of days, which was very concerning. So I text into the system and was like, hey, has the owner been sick or on vacation? Because I sent in an email, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh yeah, she's been out sick. So I finally heard from her. She finally acknowledged my cancellation. But when I was searching for, is that the only person I can talk to? Is she legitimately the owner? I realized how many properties they actually managed. And it felt like over 100 in my small little town. And I was like, no wonder I was not a priority for them. Look how many properties they're actively managing. So they never actually, when I was first initially communicating to them and kind of interviewing them, I didn't like the other property management in town. I didn't like their fee structure. And I was able to negotiate with this one on some of their fees, but they never actually won me over. And I'm not comfortable continuing with a system in place that just makes me a task person and not a partner in this. And I'm the owner and these are my properties and I really want them run a certain way, and they weren't. And so thus the reason to finally send in the cancel notification, because I was just done. And now I will be taking them back over. So I want to chat, like, how does this relate to you in business? When you treat yourself as priority, when you are the priority in your business, where you are showing up for your people, you're building your relationships, you're answering the emails, and when you're on the other side of that, the client, you're the actual client or the customer, and you realize you're being treated like a number, that can provide a lot of clarity. And it makes you think, are you doing that to your people? Are your people starting to feel like a task instead of a priority? Being someone's just another listing made me ask, am I making my people feel like that too? So what does make someone feel like a priority in a business relationship? Quick, clear responses, proactive communication, small signals of care, noticing, remembering, following through, boundaries that are clear but still human. The boring back end is the brand, the way you handle the follow-up. That's what sticks for people. Even if your offer is amazing, if your follow-through is flaky, your business starts to feel unreliable. So where in your business are you slowly becoming the property management company that I just fired? Where are your clients feeling delayed or distant or deprioritized? What's one place you can tighten the follow-through this week? You don't have to overhaul everything. I just want you to raise the bar where it has started to slide. That's the important note from me and this property management company. Like, when you become unprioritized by someone and you value priority, then it makes you pause and reflect. Are you also doing this for your people, for the people you are trying to connect to the people that are already your client list? Like, are you still making them a priority? Are you going above and beyond what their expectations of you are? And I think a lot of times that's really the biggest part is expectation. Because when expectations are no longer met, that is when friction starts. And I didn't have a comfortable read right out of the gate with this property management company. And then the things that I didn't anticipate to ask, like, I felt like I asked a bajillion questions on the front side because I was handing over the keys to my kingdom, right? And I felt like I asked a bajillion questions, but I didn't. Once I started seeing how they actively ran their business, I was like, whoa, I didn't ask that. Oh my goodness, I didn't ask that either. And as I'm now getting back the documents, the leases, the interaction with the tenant on the front side, the documents, like, I have a lease that's in effect for 18 months. I didn't approve an 18-month lease. Like, why did we sign somebody for 18 months? And I got negotiated on that lease. That's the other thing. One of my tenants negotiated her rent. And since it was unleased for so long, the one that the chain reaction, the cause and the effect of me hiring this company to begin with, I had to put somebody in at a reduced rate. And now that I have her lease, it's 18 months. Like, I didn't agree to that. And some of the things that they would ask me to get somebody into the vacant one right now, like, one person applied and they were like, she doesn't meet the income requirements, but would you lease to her? And I'm like, well, that's a big fat no. Like, I don't want to set anybody up to fail. I don't want to have to evict somebody. And the other big caveat for me was they were like, she has hospital debt or doctor debt. And I'm like, do you know how easy it is to set up a payment plan for a hospital or a doctor? Like, I've done it when I've had large hospital debt and I was able to keep it off my credit. So why would you allow something so easy to go on your credit? Because you can give a hospital like $10 a month, $20 a month. You literally can give them pennies and they will keep it off your credit. They will not put it on your credit. So I was like, this feels like a failure right out of the gate. She doesn't meet the income criteria and she has hospital debt. I'm really concerned. So no. And then I got asked if I would give more discounts. And I'm like, what are we running here? Like, I'm so baffled. I'm so baffled. And so that was kind of the straw. 10 months unleased with, it felt like no attempts at getting at least. And then the work orders, and I just wasn't a priority. And I wasn't a fan of the systems. And when I feel combative to respond to a work order, I got to change. I got to make the change. And so ripped off the Band-Aid. I'm taking them back. It will be more work for me. I don't have the hours in the day to do it, but I'm just going to do it because they failed and they didn't meet my expectations, and that causes friction. And I don't need that stress. You don't need that stress. So, but also reflection back into your own business. Again, are you allowing your clients to feel these things with you? That's really the takeaway message. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope you truly have a great rest of your week. Oh, and don't forget to grab my reflection deck for creative entrepreneurs who spiral fast and need clarity faster. One card, one question, one step forward. Download it over at bossgirlcreative.com/reflection. And maybe don't trash your offer just yet.
And flow. And talk. Good girl.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.